Hey everyone, it's Skylar and welcome back to my channel. Today's look is this dark green grungy glam look. It's very matte, so if you're interested on how to achieve this look, then just keep watching. So because this look is going to be very matte, we don't want to use anything with a dewy finish to it. So for primer today, I'm going in with the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Primer, and I'm just going to take a pump of that and put it all over my face, but I'm really going to focus on my T-zone, right where my nose and my cheeks are, just because those are where my pores are the most prominent. For foundation today, I'm going to be using the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Foundation. I am in the shade, I believe, 120. I'm in the shade 120. This is like the most matte foundation I think I've ever used, which is perfect for this look because we want it to be very matte. And if you have oily skin, this is a great foundation for you because you don't even need a powder to set it because it's so matte. So if you have oily skin, it will prevent you from having shine. So I'm just going to use a couple pumps of that, and then I'm just going to put that all over. I'm going to be using a beauty blender to apply my foundation. You can use whatever you want, but I like the way beauty blenders put on foundation the best. Something to note about the Fenty foundation that I didn't know before, I know a lot of girls will put on their foundation, like they'll put dots on their face of foundation and then they'll blend it in. That's not something you want to do with the Fenty foundation because it's water-based. So you actually have to work in sections, because if you don't and you just put dots on your face, you'll actually find that when you get one side of your face blended and you start to go to the other side, that side will already be dry. That's how fast this stuff sets. Which is why you really don't need a setting powder, because it's just so matte and it sets itself. Like I said, this foundation is so matte, you really don't have to use a setting powder. If your skin is really oily though, you can go ahead and do that just for like an extra reassurance that your makeup won't, fade throughout the day and that you won't get that shine coming through. I'm not, just because I have more of a normal to dry skin type rather than oily. And so I find when I put on powder, unless it's like summer out, which it's not here in New England, it is winter, it's cold and frigid, but in the summertime I will use powder because otherwise I do find that I will get some shine. But I'm not for today. Like I said, you can go ahead and do that if you want to, but I am not. I feel like when it's cold out like this and I put on powder on top of the Fenty foundation, I find that I end up looking almost cakey. So I'm going to skip that step and I'm going to go straight into bronzer. The bronzer that I'm going to go in is the Hoola Benefit Bronzer. I love this bronzer. You can tell I've hit pan on it. I'm just going to go in with that. I only use a little bit at a time with this because I am very fair, and so I have to be careful with bronzer sometimes, because if you go in too harsh with your bronzer, you end up looking orange, and that's not a look. To apply my bronzer, I'm going in with a Morphe 438 brush. It's just a small dome looking brush. This just fits in the contours of my cheeks really well, so that's what I usually use for my cheeks, and then my forehead I'll go in with a bigger brush. You really want to make sure you blend out your bronzer, just because if you don't, you're gonna get a line, and that's not cute, sis. So I'm going in with a Morphe E4 brush, and I'm just using that for my forehead, and I'm just putting the bronzer on the sides of my forehead and along the center. Because the look we're doing is kind of like a green, grungy look, I wanna go in with pink blush. I'm actually gonna go in with the Morphe Warm Master 8W palette. I'm gonna go in with this very bright pink shade at the top, and I'm just gonna go in with a Morphe M523 brush, and I'm gonna apply that to the apples of my cheek as well as the very tip of my nose. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do, just for an extra touch, I'm gonna go in with a Morphe E3 brush. It's just a fluffy brush. I'm just gonna go over the pink blush that we just put down to blend it out a little bit more, and I'm especially doing that on the tip of my nose. All right, so that's it for the face. I'm actually gonna go ahead and apply my eyebrows, and then we'll get into the eye makeup. I'm gonna do that off camera, but for my brows, I am going in with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade. I'm in the shade medium. And then I'm also going in with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Tinted Brow Gel, and this is in the shade Chocolate. I usually just apply this after I've filled in my brows so that way you can see the hair texture, because I don't have any eyebrows, so this just makes them look a little bit more realistic than if I were just to apply this. All right, so my eyebrows are done, and the next thing I'm gonna do is actually go ahead and curl my lashes. This is the first thing I do, just because I feel like when I apply my eyeshadow and then I curl my lashes, I feel like it smudges some of the eyeshadow off, and we're gonna be applying mascara and false lashes anyways, so it really doesn't matter if they're curled, because you're not gonna be able to see them anyways, really. So that's the first thing I'm gonna do. And then I'm gonna go ahead and apply some eyeshadow primer. This is the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. A little bit of this goes a long way, so be careful when you're applying, because you can apply too much and then it becomes a mess. And then I'm just gonna blend that out with my finger. So for the eye look today, I'm actually gonna be going in with the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette. The very first shade I'm going into is Silk Cream, which is this matte light brown shade, and I am going to go in with a small Morphe brush. This is just one of their fluffy brushes. It's not labeled because I got it in the 702 set. All right, so the next shade I'm going to be dipping into is the shade Mocha, which is this matte brown right here. And I'm going in with a slightly smaller, more pointy Morphe eyeshadow brush. And we're just gonna take that into the crease as well, but we're not gonna bring it as high up as we did with Silk Cream. So I'm gonna go ahead and dip into that. And then once I've laid down most of that color, I'm gonna go back in with that first fluffy brush we applied Silk Cream with. And I'm just gonna blend that out. At this point in time, I'm also going to take a flat shader brush. This is also a Morphe brush, and I'm going to go in with that same color Mocha, and I'm going to run it along my lower lash line just to smoke it out a little bit. The next shade we're dipping into is called Central Park, and that's that nice matte brown at the top here. And I'm going in with a relatively small Morphe brush. And dipping into that shade, I'm only going to take this onto the outer corner of my eye, and then I'm blending it up in towards the crease a little bit as well. But I'm not going to take it far up like we did with the first two shades. We really just want to focus this on the outer corner of the eye. This is just to deepen up the look a little bit because we are going for that matte grungy look. And I'm going to continue to pack color into that outer corner. And then we'll go in with that fluffy brush that we've been using, and we'll blend out the edge afterwards so we don't have any harsh lines. All right, so going in with that fluffy brush, like I said, just gonna blend out the very corner. And you don't wanna take this too far out. It's just to deepen up the two eyeshadows that we've already used. And it'll blend nicely with that green that we're gonna apply to the lid. I'm also going to go back in with that flat brush, and I'm going to apply Central Park to the lower lash line as well. But I'm only going to apply this to the outer 1/3 of the lower lash line. All right, so the very last color that we're going to be using is Enchanted, which is this dark matte green color. And I'm going in with that same brush that we used to apply Central Park. And I'm applying this all over the lid, and then we will blend it out into that dark brown and the lighter brown that we have above too. I'm packing on quite a bit of green. I want it to be very pigmented. And then I'm going to go in with that same round fluffy brush, and I'm just going to blend the edges of that green into the brown shades that we've been using. That's it for the eyeshadow. I'm going to go ahead and take a black pencil liner. I don't know what brand this is because I've had it for so long that the brand name smudged off, but any black kohl liner will work. And I'm going to use this, and I'm going to put it along the upper lash line. This is just so when we apply our false lashes later on, there won't be that gap in between. So I'm going to quickly apply some mascara and lashes. I'm going to be wearing the Lashaholic Luxury Lashes. This is in the style Instaglam. These are just nice because they are natural looking, but they also are very full, so it'll stand out with this dark grunge look that we have going on. So I know I said that I was gonna keep this a really matte look, but I can't resist highlighters, so I'm actually gonna go in with the Makeup Forever Starlit powder. This is in the number 13. They were out of this for so long, and then finally Sephora got it back in stock, so I quickly snatched one. And I'm just gonna take a little bit on a fan brush. This is a Morphe M310 brush, and I'm taking a very little bit, and I'm just gonna apply that to my cheeks. And I'm gonna also apply it to the tip of my nose. The very last thing I'm gonna do is set this with the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. This is great to keep everything matte. So that's it for today's look. If you really wanted to, you could totally pair this with a brown liquid lip, or you could even pair it with like a nude, like a pinky brown. You could do that too. But I'm actually just gonna leave my lips as they are. But that's it for today's look. I hope you all enjoyed. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you guys have any recommendations or something that you would like to see, any requests, be sure to leave that in the comments down below, and I will get to it as soon as I can. Thank you guys so much for watching. We're just gonna be dipping into that shade Silk. I'm gonna start off the face with the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Foundation. What?